Now Keisha was a bad mama jamma. Tall, dark skin with some tig old bitties. Who remembers Keisha's introduction from Hype Williams' movie directorial debut Belly? Despite what you may think of the film itself, the DMX starring crime action movie is considered to be a cult staple that blurs the line between hip-hop and film. The art behind the artist, Taral Hicks, had a promising run in the early to late 90s when Hype Williams took her under his wing and casted her in one of her most popular roles. Besides starring as Jane in her other most prominent role, A Bronx Tale, which should have been her biggest break, turned into confusion and chaos once bad business moves were made and we wouldn't get the chance to hear Taral's voice or see her beautiful face as much as we once had. So, whatever happened to Taral Hicks? Did she forget to unlock Calagiro's door this time? Taral Hicks caught everybody's attention when she starred in Robert De Niro's directorial debut film, A Bronx Tale, in 1993. Her warm smile, flawless skin, and pretty face was a shoo-in, captivating audiences everywhere. I know y'all remember when Calogero, the son of Robert De Niro's character, was staring Jane's pretty tall self down on that bus. If you know, you know. Before the confused and curious cats in the back, A Bronx Tale, the early 90s Italian-filled film set in the lower middle-class city of Bronx, New York, had our main guy, Calogero, fiending for his newfound love interest, Jane, played by no other than Taral Hicks. Sounds innocent enough, right? Except the towns were heavily divided. Whites on one side, blacks on the other. But Calogero didn't care about none of that. He was going to get his girl by any means necessary. And honestly, we get it. Taral's role in A Bronx Tale, unbeknownst to her, would help further her acting career. But before she was sneaking around with her Italian honey, Taral was singing and dancing on Broadway stages. Mama I Want to Sing would be her safe space for the next 4 to 5 years, starting at the age of 13. A production based on the life and times of singer Doris Troy, set in 1940s Harlem, New York. School on weekdays and literal showtime on the weekends made up Taral's teen years and would all come to a close once the show ceased production. So, what was her next move? Video music box, apparently. Not necessarily the actual video show, but an ad they'd been running for a few weeks with hopes of scouting a pretty brown little something to play the role of Jane Williams in A Bronx Tale. Persuaded by her sisters, one being actress Deatra Hicks, you know old girl from the Tyler Perry plays, and that one singing lady on Divorce Court? When Taral pulled up to the audition, the line was wrapped and longer than the wait with customer service representatives for the IRS. Thousands of girls turned into hundreds, turned into 3, then just one, with Taral being the chosen one. The role would open many doors for her, but her subsequent roles were much smaller than the blockbuster film she previously starred in. In 1995, she appeared in the Sean Connery and Lawrence Fishburne film Just Cause, as well as 1996's Educating Matt Waters and The Preacher's Wife, alongside Whitney Houston. Her more visible role and the character that'd be used for countless mood boards and aesthetics all across the web would be in the 1998 film Belly. Something about a dark-skinned beauty meshed with dim blue lighting was a sight to see, to say the least. Disregard what Beyonce was talking about. The girls or guys that get it. But before Keisha was going at it with Tommy, Taral had been scooped up by none other than the legendary Motown Records, winning a record deal and released her album This Time. This time was her time to shine, and at a time where the likes of Brandy and Monica were thriving, Taral would be thrown into the mix. Her cover of Denise Williams' Silly placed her on the map, and the singles that followed, Distant Lover, the song that was supposed to have been her debut, produced by Teddy Riley, and Ooh Ooh Baby, featured and written by Missy Elliott. Ooh Ooh Baby would help Taral seal her first chart position at number 81 on Billboard's Hot R&B Singles chart. After collaborating for her music video for the song Silly, Hype Williams casted Taral for his film Belly, playing DMX's character's girlfriend. Miss Hicks's role as Keisha was a 360 transition from her more innocent and covered days as Jane. Her cameos were short and sweet, but the impact of Keisha was felt immensely, especially throughout the hip-hop sector. She was fine as wine and embodied the Keisha's Taral knew personally back at her home projects of Gun Hill, New York. Starring alongside DMX was more nerve-wracking for him than it had been for her, since Taral was already an established actress by this point. If she wasn't already eye candy as is, in this new role, Taral was a whole buffet and was sought after by a large population of both men and women. In the film, the music video for her song, Silly, can be seen playing in the background of her floor scene. But unfortunately for her actual music ventures, it wouldn't last long post-Belly, at least not with Motown Records. At the time, Motown had been going through the changes, firing, hiring, promoting, and demoting anyone they saw fit. Taral would get caught up in the madness with her old team getting the boot and a new sheriff being in charge of the overall trajectory of her musical endeavors over at the Home of Soul. The backing just wasn't there, and when CEO Andre Harrell left, it all went left. Soon enough, Taral left the label altogether. Getting a substantial amount of acting gigs here and there throughout the years, Taral was still doing what she loved best, but the spotlight seemed to have been placed in a back seat while her family life with husband Lauren Dawson would be favored. Married since 2001, the two have a total of 3 kids together. Following her siblings' footsteps, she ventured off and decided to be Tyler Perry's next caricature. All jokes, of course, in his many stage plays. Tyler Perry's Aunt Bam's Place, alongside Cassie Davis, Jeffrey Lewis, and more, set on a 3-day run starting on August 30th in 2011, filmed for a DVD release in 2012. Acting, music, and overall talent is clearly embedded in the Hicks DNA, so it shouldn't be a surprise to know that Taral is related to all kinds of other established actresses. Tashina Arnold being her first cousin. 3 kids, and many years later, Taral is still in this thing, giving the girls a run for their money. She may not be on your TV screen as much as she once was, but she is on some of your favorite streaming services, Apple TV and Amazon, for example. One of her latest roles was in the Apple TV film Gaslight. She also stars in Amazon Prime's Chase Street. The work-life balance is immaculate, but what's even more immaculate is her ability to balance her passions with her other passions outside of the entertainment realm. Taral now spends her days as a school teacher and continues to dibble and dab in her creative outlets of choice. Music still being a driving force in her overall career, but instead of R&B being highlighted, gospel is more her speed nowadays. A loving, devoted Christian woman who has been able to enjoy the fruits of her labor, all whilst decoding the perfect middle ground between entertainment and personal life. Taral Hicks was a part of some of the best cult classics that people will forever praise for different reasons. She put on for the girls during a time when women who looked like her weren't getting their flowers. And even better, a well-rounded, respectable woman who'd go on to become a great role model for women everywhere. The era of Taral Hicks may not have been as huge as compared to some of her peers, but the impact she had on the 90s was, all thanks to just 2 prominent roles. Were or are you a fan of Taral Hicks? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.